Okay. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Miyoko from Japan. Welcome back to my channel. I'm live from Fukuoka Prefecture, Japan. How are you guys doing? I already see some super chat. Thank you so much. Working, but keep fighting so I can see the rerun. Thank you so much. Hello in the future. I always appreciate super chats. This is what I do. So I will read the super chat, like prioritize them. Okay. Okay. Uh, Ohio from Ohio. Ohio gozaimasu. Ohio. Second. Let's see. Hello, Yoko. And not sure where he there today. Sitting in my chair right across me. So he's here, but I'm not sure how much he's paying attention to this. You're looking elegant as always. Thank you. I tried to wear another this shirt, and then I realized that I wore that last week, so I get to wear something else today. Yeah. Yoko, how goes your art sales? I'm not selling well at all. Nobody buys my art. Why? It used to be easier before. I have art pieces in my Etsy store. Link in the description box below. Thank you, John, for reminding me. I always forget. So before I get started, please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so that you don't miss these streams. This is a Q&A session, so feel free to leave comments. Hey, Yoka. Hey, thanks for coming. Okay, I see a long comment here. Let's check it out. So the prosecutor from Georgia is being impeached. Let's see how that goes. Alex Jones warns of another pandemic and mask mandates this coming winter. I'm not complying. Again, I hope Japan doesn't. I saw about a bird flu in China that there's this person, like a human, infected with a bird flu. Hope that it doesn't spread. I didn't know that humans can catch it. This is too convenient to happen right now, and it's all because it's election season. This is another plot of election interference. Do not fall for it again. Do not comply with these mandates. And Biden did not comment on the fire disaster in Hawaii. He didn't? Snake. I forget. Oh, okay. But I did see Trump reacted to it. He always does. What was it? I feel like there were twice. But when Shinzo Abe was assassinated, Trump was the very first American politician who reacted, to give us this the statement, the White House did it, and then Biden. So it was like Biden was way later. I remember that. So yeah. The death count is I think in 191. Wow. And so many homeless there. BlackRock may buy the land. I hope they stand their ground and not sell it. Yeah. It is such a disaster, and I think that it's a human disaster as well. Like I hear that the local administration was not doing things well there to avoid the disaster from expanding and so on. Should we start chanting Yoko, Yoko, Yoko? Yes, feel free to do that. Thank you. Hello, Yoko. Hello. Thanks for coming. Biden representative said that he's fighting for peace for Japan and South Korea. Apparently, the tail nations are at war. Oh yeah. Speaking of which, I need to before I talk about presidential elections, of the U.S. I watched the entire speech of Vivek Ramaswamy, and I read other news outlets about him, and I know more about him now. So I should talk about him later. But first, as a Japanese based in Japan, I need to mention this Camp David Summit. Can you see the picture? So this is Yomiuri Shimbun from today. It says Japan, US, South Korea cooperation, new era, summit, alliance, no, strengthening of the cooperation of the alliance. And then they talk about how they keep Korean Peninsula and Taiwan in mind, for emergency. And so they have a declaration together, and they're strengthening their partnership, regarding the national security and also economy. So when there is some kind of threat, that is common, they're gonna cooperate smoothly and work together, So that's very good. And then also they are going to have like a summit and also like a minister level meetings every year. And they're determined to work together for the denuclear, I can't say, get rid of North Korea's nuclear weapons. And then Taiwan Strait, the peace and stability of Taiwan Strait. They reconfirmed the importance. And then also there's the part about let's see, in the middle, like around here, they're talking about the treated water coming from our nuclear power plant from Fukushima, where the disaster happened in 2011. And what's good is that South Korea used to bash Japan for our water, like or just the disaster in general. But over the past years, especially South Korean conservatives began to change their attitude towards Japan because they see the real threat, that's coming to their own country, which is China. North Korea was always there, and now China is their threat. So 80% of the population now hates, they dislike China. So they're coming to us instead, like South Korea is in between of North Korea, China, and Japan. So like they swing all the time, and that's their history. And right now, though, that it's good that they are finally on our side, and so the President Yoon, the current president of South Korea, said that he respects the IAEA reports regarding the treated water. So that's good. And oh my gosh, super chat. As a pianist yourself, do a lot of Japanese people take piano lessons? I saw videos of both Shinzo Abe and Empress Michiko both playing the piano. Yes, it's very, very common. It's if you have a child, then the parents will put them into piano lessons. That's what my parents did. I took classical piano lesson from 5 years old, like when I was in kindergarten, to 15 years old when the junior high school ended. So, why do you look so bored? Do you guys have questions for my husband? Because he's gonna fall asleep in my gaming chair right in front of me. But thank you so much. Yeah, Shinzo Abe played it very well. Like I'm a good pianist, so like his level was cute, but he played it after like decades, so that is very impressive. Yeah. I think I heard that Americans take violin lessons. I don't know if that's true. Of course, you have to be somewhat rich. Like my family is not rich, but like pretty like middle class. If I think like Americans, it's like in the middle, just regular, but not poor, so that my parents could afford it. But yeah. Anyway, so hard to hear or read about what President Biden is doing, since I know he is doing exact opposite of what I want and not good for humanity. That's it's like I have the more I listen to like conservative, Republican candidates for the U.S. presidential election, I realize like I come from another country, that conservative people, of course, like they want to first protect their own country, so especially the southern border, and also recently Chinese balloons were flying above you and above the military bases in the US and so on. And I do see the threats, and that should be taken care of, right? Which Biden administration is not doing. So of course, like I'm on the side of you that you want to protect that, but at the same time, like this Camp David thing, this is like I feel like this is kind of Biden, because Biden, when he was the vice president of Obama administration, there was this agreement between Japan and South Korea called, like we call it basically just Japan-South Korea agreement. And it was about the so-called comfort women, like prostitutes type, of women during war. And they, anti-Japan people call it now like sex slaves, yeah. And but anyway, it's a controversy or dispute between Japan and South Korea, which is now over. But back in 2015, I think that was the December of 2015, if I remember correctly, there was the agreement between Japan and South Korea. So basically Japan gave lots of money to South Korea so that they would shut up about it. And behind that was the push from America, like Obama administration. But Biden was there to push that. It might have been Biden's idea. I don't know. But so it's like the America's interference about our like Eastern Asian politics, right? So both sides, Japan and South Korea, at that time, like it's different now, but back then we were very hostile to each other. And South Korean side bashes Japan. Oh, Japan was bad during the World War II. They enforced our women to like drag them into the war to use them as sex slaves. That was what they were saying. Japanese side is like, oh, that's not on the national level. There were some brokers, like like business type of people that were doing that, but like it was not the order from our nation and blah blah blah. Like we were talking so like aggressively each other. So we were in a bad relationship, but then America forced us to just bam, just be together, cooperate together against China, right? And then that was, since it was forced, both sides kind of, went even more against each other. So that was not a good way to do politics, because we have emotions too, right? So there were problems like that. So it could be like this time, like Japan, U.S., South Korea. Now there's a summit, and this is gonna be an annual thing, right? And that's good, to me now. And this could be Biden's idea, but at the same time, I feel like this is the result of years of bureaucracy, which conservatives in the US bash. You know what I mean? Like I don't know about America too much, like too well. I'm not too familiar, but I know that conservatives are, especially Trump and other Make America Great Again people are, they want to do something about deep state. They're fighting against deep state. When I look at my country, our bureaucracy is there. And of course it's not, I don't know if it's on the level of corruption, but I know that, like all this ministry and so on, they have their own group or companies that they allot their jobs to. So that becomes like vested interests. and they get rich, but we don't. So that there's that picture also. But at the same time, our bureaucracy is there. Like they're proud, to be the bureaucracy, and what their mind is that they don't want to be thrown away by the administration at that time. Like each time, our prime minister, for example, Abe administration was such a steady, like stable, long administration. But generally in Japan, our leader changes one after another. It's very short, and it just keeps changing. And then bureaucracy people, of course, like if the head changes, then they have to change, and that's like they get influenced, right? But then, so in order to avoid that, they are proud and they have to protect what they're doing, and they have to make sure that they make the politicians listen to them and so on. So there's that struggle there, right? And this newspaper even said something about that. It shouldn't be influenced by the administration, the system, to help each other globally. It shouldn't be influenced by the each administration. So what I'm trying to say is that from Japan's perspective, it's kind of reassuring that even if it's whether it's Biden or Trump or whoever that may lead America, their basic principles don't change, and they are like continuing. Whichever party takes the power in America, they continue the same grounds. And that's very important to us, because the problem that I see of the US often is that, for example, Afghanistan, for example, right? Like Biden administration withdrew from Afghanistan in the way that Trump did not expect. And things like that happened. That happened to Tibet. The US was backing Tibet, but one day they dropped the support. And then so Tibetans were thrown away, to China's hands. And so that sort of problems happen. So in order to, I think that it's important that we cooperate globally together so that we can focus on our own countries, that we have common threats in the world. So once that we have established the system like this, like, our summits globally, aside from the regular G7 or 20, our people, our leaders who know the common threats get together and build a system and carry that on, even if the leader changes. And that's very important to me. Well, thank you for the super chat. Yoko, would you say the difference between the US deep state and Japanese deep state is that the Japanese deep state actually love their country? I don't put Japan's deep state, like deep state is the US thing, and I don't know about Japan's version. 日本にディープステートあると思いますか? My husband is like, there's nothing like that. でも既得権益とかになるじゃん。省庁の。他に発注してるぐらい。My husband is sleeping! Wake up! Okay, my husband said that it's not on the level of deep state in Japan. Yes.
官僚組織ってね。
官僚組織っていうのがない？
ガチガチにあるけど、それすらもだいぶ変わってるから、頭だいぶ変えてる。
according to my husband, Shinzo Abe fixed our like bureaucracy while he was in power, so it's not as bad as before. Because like you have to just pick the good guy in the system, and then the guy will do the good job, and then it will be reformed. But when I was listening to Vivek Ramaswamy yesterday, like when he was making a speech, he was talking about how you can't even reform the bureaucracy anymore. That you have to just what's his word? I mean, I don't remember his expression, but just end FBI and IRLs and all these three alphabets groups, like government organizations. So I guess the level is different. What happened to Tibet was so wrong. Yeah. Korean and Japanese relations improving. All I've seen all week from both sides is bickering over some Korean DJ who supposedly got molested in Japan. Yeah, right? That incident is so stupid. I at first like there's this DJ, like Korean DJ in Japan who performed at the concert here in Japan, and she has this performance. She goes off stage and get mingled in the audience to, like that's her service for the fans, right? But she says that in Japan, she got touched, and especially her boobs, right? And then she's wearing like a swimsuit type of like she's showing her boobs and lots of skins and yeah, and but then she's basically bashing Japan and Japanese people, Japanese culture, and then we learned though, like as we dig about her, that she was wearing the Comfort Women shirt. She posted that on social media, I guess Instagram or something. And then other like Korean artists or musicians wore like a atomic bomb T-shirt and so on, and that became controversial back in the day too. So that happens between Japan and South Korea because in South Korea that's the justice, right, to them, but to us that's really bad news, right? So I feel like I'm I don't want to go into like conspiracy theory, but the timing is weird. I have to say that whatever, I don't know if it was intended or not, but it's very unfortunate because we are coming very close together as its own newspaper. And then there's on the like non-governmental level, we're having fights again, and that's so bad. I'm like she is making it into a national level thing. She was touched at her concert. Okay, I'm like, okay, I get it, but where was your bodyguard? Like a security guard who was supposed to, protect you. And that's the problem, right? And no, the Japanese people are just genuinely enjoying the time. Of course, it's bad, wrong to touch, especially like nowadays, right? Like Japanese people are very free-minded, and we are like, we tend to be very free, because it's very safe here, right? Like it's not like when we touch somebody, we get locked up as harshly as other countries. In Japan, it's somewhat like like more at ease, because it's like Japan is a safe country. And then, but the problem again is that she, even though it's like on the level of the concert and the host and the whole community there, it's a problem of the community rather, that she wears like sexual costume and so on and appeal sexually, and then she got touched and she's complaining. And there are left biased people that are saying like, oh, you're free to, wear whatever you want and you should be protected and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, we're all humans, you get what's the word? I don't know the word, but oh yeah, stimulated, right? Like that's like we are all humans, so you have to be careful. That's just it. But she is bashing Japan now. And it's just so wrong, and I just really hope that it doesn't continue because it's not helping anyone. Yep, 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 yep. I read a comment on this video about Maui. I have watched videos of people trying to deliver items or being turned away by FEMA. What is that? Oh, Federal Emergency Management Agency. Oh, oh, I see. For what reason? Is it because it could be dangerous, they think? That's interesting because in Japan, when natural disasters happen, we send each other stuff all the time, like from like a private people to like administrations. Japanese are not good. It does happen with corporations, though. There's this big car corporation that is now in trouble. You can just Google Big Motor. It's crazy. From an American perspective, the people have the power and we elect our leaders, yes. The government is a tool of the people. When the tool starts to resist the people, is a huge problem. Yes, I see that. Yes. Like you have to get the government back to people's hands. What's interesting about Vivek Ramaswamy is that he is taking the good result of Donald Trump. He says it out loud, like he doesn't hide it though. Like he says that he was inspired by Donald Trump back in 2015 to 16, and Donald Trump was the outsider back then, and then he shook the system. So Vivek wants to do that, as an outsider. So that's very interesting. Like he's getting the talking points of Donald Trump. But at the same time, I feel like, we all focus on Trump, right? Like, oh, Trump is this and that. But it's the people who elected him. But Trump just noticed what the needs were and he darkly spoke on that and with the people, talk to the people. And I think that we all see the needs and so on. But at the same time, though, I saw the news about DeSantis. He made a gaffe, basically. What's the listless? I forgot to. He called okay, that's a bad word. DeSantis called like Trump supporters listless vessels. Is that right? So like Fox News people were comparing that to Hillary Clinton's deplorable comments. I think that Vivek is smart in his like when it comes to his attitude, like all these other candidates are bashing each other, and Vivek Ramaswamy, he chooses to just state his policies instead of bashing others, so that he doesn't go to that level. And he claims himself as a realist, he talks about realism very, very passionately, and he represents that with his presence. So he's doing a good job about it. That is my VP pick. Yeah, I feel like that's going to be it because DeSantis is obviously hated by Trump. So I'm not sure. Trump, of course, is threatened by him. So that's why he's probably bashing DeSantis more than, he would if he was not threatened. But And Vivek Ramaswamy right now, so far, Vivek Ramaswamy is praising Trump, um, giving him the credit that the reason why Ramaswamy is running for the race is because of Trump, and that's what he says. And Trump, on the other hand, is not bashing Ramaswamy yet. And Tommy Lauren on Fox News was saying that it's because Trump doesn't feel threatened. So it might be it. I don't know the reason, but yeah. So if this picture continues, like Trump bashes DeSantis, DeSantis bashes Trump, and then if Trump wins in that way and Ramaswamy remains the same, praising Trump, then there's a chance, I feel. But people love Carrie Lake too, so I don't know. Korean DJ bikini right into the ground, yes. Like, expect what happens, right? What do you think of Ramaswamy Taiwan US chip policy in giving China a way to wait and not invade Taiwan in the near future? I don't take it that way. The way that I heard was that Ramaswamy rather said that America has to be like semiconductor, what's like the U.S. chip independence, and until then, if China comes in, if China tries to invade into Taiwan, then America would defend Taiwan. So that's what I heard. So I didn't see in the way that they will wait until until like it's all done, and then that's like, but that might be the real thought of him. Like, who knows? That, like, if you put it that way, then that's like, oh, he doesn't care about Taiwan. But that might be it. Some people criticize Ramaswamy as that he is working for India and so on. That's pretty like racist way of seeing him, I think. I think that judging from his commentary about this war by Russia to Ukraine, the invasion, like he is saying that we need to pull Putin away from Xi Jinping. So that's very like political dynamics wise is very accurate. I think that China Russia relation is the very enemy that we have. That cooperation there is the real threat, and I agree with that. But but he, of course, he's a business-minded person. He was saying that himself, but he says that in order to end the war, he will not let Ukraine join NATO, and instead, Putin has to pull away from the China-Russia relation, and also give up the nuclear weapons in what's that place? the place that's far, like Poland border, and so on. But basically, what that means is that give Putin parts of Ukraine, and then Ukraine doesn't join NATO, so that the U.S. can be free from Russia's presence in the Western what's the word? Western world. And that's a very American way of thinking, don't you think? That America is such a superpower that they don't really care. Like, with his words, like with his premise, like Ukraine would lose in the areas that like parts of their nation that they've been fighting for, and that will be dropped, and that's not good news for Ukraine. But then that's just the American way of thinking, and I don't think that's the Indian way of thinking. You know what I mean? So. Let's see the comments. I like Carrie Lake more than Vivek. Ramaswamy is so smarty, so substantive, and righteous. Carrie Lake is the warrior and righteous as well. Vivek to me feels like another Obama. He is saying the right things, he's smart, and yet I just don't trust him. If he really wants a future, he should drop out and get behind and support Trump. What makes you say that though? Because he graduated from Harvard and Yale, and to me that's the smart people's way of talking. You know, like he's a businessman, like he's an entrepreneur, right? Like he has his own company, and then it's just a smart people way of talking, and it's not like people do compare that with Obama. I did it, like I'm writing an article about him actually, and I did because it's easy for people to picture him, you know, like. But what I wrote, you know, in the draft is that Vivek Ramaswamy is even more, like, what's the word? Like, the word is almost there. Eloquent. He's more eloquent than Obama, is what I wrote in the draft of the article that I'm writing. I guess that people just, like, I see lots of comments saying that Ramaswamy's words are good, but it's too good to be true. But at the same time, though, you have to be fair and look at Trump. Trump was saying all these things like build a wall, and blah blah blah. And then I hear from like former Trump supporters in the U.S. saying that they expecting more from Donald Trump. And that's what just happens in politics, that you want to do something, but then the reality is there. Lots of people are engaged in it, the one thing that you are talking about. And then it's like lots of people tangled up. So what happens is that sometimes you can't get all what you want. So Ramaswamy, I don't know, but like the reason why Ramaswamy doesn't seem very sketchy to me is because I am the same age as him. You know, I'm not only born in the same year as Ramaswamy, but I was born in the same month as Ramaswamy. We were born in August, like this month, in the same year, and we lived through the same, generations, like all this time, you know, and I bet that I have common sense with him, you know, especially with like I'm Japanese, but at the same time I'm largely influenced by the U.S. and he is in the U.S. but his parents are Indian. Like his parents came to the U.S., so like it's very fresh, right? Like immigrant family. So, and then he was singing like after the speech one day. I think it was August 12th, and he was singing Eminem "Lose Yourself." He did it in such a great way. I was impressed. Even CNN reporters were like the reporter at the place and also the lady at the studio. They were smiling while reporting it. Like, oh, he had a moment. Oh, he had his character was what was the word? He showed his character is what she said. And then me, you know, coming from the same age, like I felt him very close. And then like I realized like, oh, he's on the same page, like sense wise, if you know what I mean. Like, and then our generation, even younger generation, like X generation, I can only speak about my people, but like millennial generation and X generations, like we are kind of like not, we are passionate, but we are like cool, like it's lost in translation. How can I say that? Like mm, like losing interests, just basically losing interest or something like that. Like we care about things, but then we have somewhat some distance from like other generations like above us, and then so that we are not emotionally attached as much as other generations, and we can, so that's why we can see things objectively, and that's exactly what I feel from Ramaswamy. Like just like I'm doing here, in these live streams that I hold. I am Japanese, I'm patriotic, but at the same time, like when I talk about my country, I have to be objective and look at all the powers here and just put myself aside from the entire thing, because I know that it's not my responsibility that my country is this way, right? I'm an outsider, right? So I feel like the mentality of Ramaswamy is there. Like he's doing that in the US. Like he is the outside of the politics, and he is very passionate. Like I sense the challenging spirit of him. Like he's such a smart guy, and he knows it himself. So that he wants to challenge, to fix the country. I feel so. I don't sense the, maybe because I come from another country and I can't read the cultural difference, like cultural background. But what I sense is that it's like a game for him, and probably that's why Elon Musk is kind of supporting him. Like I don't know if that can be categorized as a support, but Elon Musk mentions, he says that Ramaswamy is such a, like he said that he's increasingly looking like a strong candidate. And he also said, what's the word? Like basically, oh, promising candidate. That was his first reaction after watching Tucker Carlson interview of Ramaswamy. And so that sort of people are reacting. And I think it's because it's a realism thing, that's common. But that's just my take. Yoko, have you heard about the Obama letters where he was talking about being in a relationship with another man, or at the least wanted to? No, I don't know about that. That's weird. Wait, what? He's bisexual, or I'm lost? Yes, anyway. Let's see if you have questions, let me know. Oh, by the way, I was paid by Twitter, I mean X, the other day. I want to thank some of you, that recommended me to, pay for the service so that you can get paid. And yeah, it's a small amount, but still, like it helps me. Like, I need to collect any income that I can. So anyway, man, it's less people than usual. What's the title bad? because people support Trump so much. The problem is that you have to, when it comes to election, like, here's the thing, like, I supported Shinzo Abe personally, right? Like, the reason why I got into politics was, of course, at first the trigger was Chinese people rioting about Japan. Like, they were against Japan and they were rioting inside of their own country, smashing and destroying their own malls and brands and so on. But with that, I learned about politics, and then Shinzo Abe was there, and I read about him, and I realized like how amazing he is, and then I was fascinated by him, and I was like a, what's the word? I was very like a groupie. Like, I followed him on social media, and I tried to see him, which I did a couple times. Like, I saw him up close. I shook hands with him once, and blah blah blah, right? And however, though, along as I continue on my political journey, in election, even though personally I supported Shinzo Abe in elections, I fought against him in order to create a good picture in Japan. Right now, our opposition party is super leftist, and that's what, like, a Democratic Party. They being the biggest opposition party, and in Japan, if you have the opposition party like that, even if your governing party is good, you can't really have a good talk in the diet, in the parliament. So that's why I, like, my husband, like, we were just activist friends back then, but my husband and our people back then were fighting to make another, like, we wanted to make a conservative party the biggest opposition party, so that we can bash our governing party from the right side, so that we can have conservative discussions in the national diet. And that's the picture that I wanted to make. So I was, in order to do that, we need to have our candidates elected in elections. So, and the candidates, of course, had to fight against Shinzo Abe's candidates. And we lost, but at least we tried. But what I'm saying is that in elections, you have to do something like that. And of course, America's situation is different. But if I were Americans, I would be very careful about how the ratio is. Like, I saw on Fox News the poll. I saw the poll on Fox News showing that MAGA-based people, they're 37%, persuadable 37%, and non-Trump 25%. So the worst case scenario for Trump supporters, if you put together persuadable and non-Trump together, then that's much bigger than MAGA base. And MAGA base includes like Ramaswamy and other candidates as well. So like, there are anti-Trump people inside of Republican Party or the supporters of Republican Party. So that's something that you need to put in the calculation, I think. So, and my husband started to snore. He pulled out my futon and he's sleeping. Oh my God. When is your birthday, Yoko? Happy future birthday. Thank you so much. I don't publicize my birthday anymore, but it's the debating day. Actually, I hope that it's going to be a great birthday for me. But yeah, but I heard that Trump is not joining the debate. It's good and bad, I think. I think that it's good that he doesn't join the debate because he is different, right? Like he's supported, like he has all this luxury to be in the spot that he is in right now. But at the same time, he's not even on X, former Twitter. He's not there. He does have Truth Social, so his supporters do interact with him, and they they see Trump every day. But other people, like even if they are fond of Trump, they don't see him much anymore. The relationship is like it's disconnected. And maybe in America it's different, but I feel like it's just like, I mean, it's on the early stage, so you don't have, like, he probably doesn't have to join the debate. But at the same time, I feel like it's the election, so you have to sell and sell and sell. So, but at the same time, he is, the left is using the judicial power to attack him. So maybe it's wise that he doesn't move much at this phase. But I'm just sad, as a Trump supporter, that like he's not there. Especially coming from another country. I know that it's for American people, but at the same time, the US is the biggest country in the world, and our country relies on America, and so the election is something that we can't ignore. And I just don't see him there. Like, he is there, we know it, but can really see, and we can't even compare, and it's good and bad, if you know what I mean. Hmm. Rich Sakamoto is the greatest piano player in the 21st century. Yeah, he did. What's the Energy Flow was such a great song, but aside from that, especially because he's such a leftist, he was extremely leftist. He was against the nuclear power plants, saying that, electricity, like, you can something along the line of you don't need electricity or whatever. But his music does require electricity, so we were all like, "What is he saying?" Mhm. Yep, 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 yep. Oh, super chat, thank you. Are there LGBT conservative politicians in Japan? LGBT conservative. Sorry, I'm distracted by my husband's snoring. um, LGBT. Can't remember. I don't know. Is there? Oh, there are some, like, Ishin people, or I mean, guy. Isn't he is he like gay or bisexual? I don't know. There should be someone, and also it's probably not a national diet level though. But yeah, but it wouldn't be a surprise if there is, because we are that tolerant. He's not joining the debate because he's not being respected. There's so much anti-Trumpers there. Why should he tolerate them anymore? Tucker is much fairer person to debate with. Yeah, they're gonna have a talk at the same time as when the debate is held, right? That's a very that's very politics, like everything, the timing and what you do becomes the um such a such a tactic, right? What do you think about DeSantis though? DeSantis versus Ramaswamy, because that's gonna be the picture, I think. Nikki Haley and others are good at debates too, I think, but like, people care about DeSantis, right? Because Trump bashes him, and also, like, he's a very, like, strong candidate from the Republican Party, like, in general. However, DeSantis has been having troubles recently, and then Ramaswamy is rising. And Ramaswamy, not only that, he is very strong at debates, and he has this positive attitude, which most people like, those who are not very much determined politically. I bet that they will be fascinated by him. So the debate would be, I have a feeling that Ramaswamy will shine at the debate. So then what happens? I'm really curious what's going to happen. And it's good, though, by the way, that the US has all this debate culture. It's really good because you have to be responsible and you have to have this great ideas that is very firm, like you expect other people's attacks, right? So then you have to make sure that your idea or your policy are very strong and firm, with no holes in it. So you can prepare in a good way, and at the same time you can compare the policies of each other. And it's really good because over here in Japan, we don't do that. We don't have primaries, it's just election. We dive into elections and stupid candidates win. What happens often in Japan is that, especially if it's like the local level, if a female puts up a poster, we have like a, what you call, like a, what's it called? Bulletin board. There's a board in each district, or it's not even district. It's basically like a elementary school or high elementary school area. Like a block of each administration, like a local administration. We have lots of board, and then we put our poster, like each candidate put posters on the same board, and then people pick from that, right? And if you're a female candidate and put a poster there with a pinkish or bright color and beautiful, like a very modified picture, then you're gonna win. That's how it is in Japan. Female candidates are strong nowadays. You can just say like, "Oh, I'm a candidate," and then put a poster, just smile, and then you're gonna win. So that's how low our politics is. Trump told his aides that he would be offended having to join the debate stage with losers like us. Hutchinson and Chris Christie, who are barely polling. I see. Like he doesn't want to be there on the same page or same stage. I get that. Oh, Super Chat, thank you so much. So big of drag queen and also two gay men giving a talk to elementary school kids during an assembly is LGBT and gender theory taught in schools. Not sure. I think it depends on districts in Japan. You're talking about Japan, right? I did see some drag queen talking to kids in elementary school on the news, and of course, conservative people were bashing that, but um, I think basically our school, like teachers union here, is very very leftist as well. In Fukuoka, like my prefecture has a counter group of that, like teachers union, but I guess it's rare. Still, like our officials were purged after the World War II, so including teachers. So like the remaining teachers were very leftist, like anti-Japan people, and also leftists and liberals and communists, so that they, observe all these things from other leftists in the world. And there are, like, depending on where you are in Japan, there are like left, just like Chicago is super left and so on, right? Like there are, like, it depends on each district, whether the city is conservative or leftist. So that's going to happen. And communists, Japanese Communist Party people are very active, when it comes to teachers and so on, because, like you said, they are the union people. So most unions are leftist, yes. In Japan, though, we have this new party, somewhat new party. Let me see. What's the official name? National Democratic Party. I feel like that's not the right. The real translation should be. I remember it as like or Democratic Party for the people. Yeah, I think that's the translation. Democratic Party for the people, or it can be called as National Democratic Party. But I think they use the party for the people publicly. I mean, officially. But anyway, there's this party that is originally from the Democratic Party, but they are the right side of the party, and then they are becoming more and more on the right side. And the leader, Mr. Tamaki, is very smart. I think he went to Harvard University. He's very, very smart. And the party's supporters include labor unions, right? Like coming from the Democratic parties. But it's and what like communists and so on or the leftist side of the Democratic Party, a different party though. They are supported by like public or national unions, like teachers union and so on, like the public one. But there are like different types of unions, like a corporation level and so on, like a non-governmental and non-national level of unions, if you know what I mean. And they're the supporters of this other party, the National Democratic Party, or the Democratic Party for the people. So in Japan, there's this difference. America is responsible for the Japanese education system being commie. I blame them for the past over to purge. Yes, I hope that that recognition spreads because, of course, it was the Democratic Party of the U.S. that did that. So they're back. Right. Most Japanese poets and writers are also very communist. Yes, like in order to be praised or evaluated in the post-war Japanese society, you had to be leftist. And I don't know if they are truly leftists or that maybe they along the way they turned into leftists. Trying to be liked by everybody. But anyway, well, it's been an hour. I should go. Oh, Superja, thank you. Trump, you and Kishida, Netanya friendship would be great. Yes, that'd be great. I think we do have a great relationship. And I really want to know about what Trump thinks of the Russia-Ukrainian war. Like, I haven't been looking into what Trump has been saying recently. I need to look into that because Ramaswamy's way of thinking was good. Pulling Putin away from Xi Jinping, because Xi Jinping that China is a real threat to both of our countries. We do have to think about the consequences though, because I stand for Ukrainian people. Like, I'm friends with the Ukrainian people, of course, and I support, like, there are ethnic groups or nation states that are trying to get independent through this chaotic situation right now. Some of them are being trained in Ukraine for their own independence. Like, it's an opportunity for them to get a real thing going, to get trained. So there's that aspect as well in this war. So there are many things to think about. But at the same time, what I agree with Ramaswamy is that I don't know about who to pull, but it's important to, divide Russia and China. Because their side, especially China, I think, is trying to divide Japan and the US. And that's why they pull out all this old history, the like they say like, oh, Japan was bad and evil and they have these problems, and so that you shouldn't be friends with Japan. That's their campaign. That has been their campaign. So we have to do the vice versa at them. Hmm. You said in 24 hours will end the war. Oh yeah, he did say that. I remember that. But I don't remember how. Just talk to Putin. Hmm. But it was interesting though how he treated Kim Jong Un. Remember when Trump met Kim Jong Un? Like they were smiling, especially Kim Jong Un was smiling. Like who ever thought he would smile? He's always like he has this death face, right? Death stare face. But with Trump, he was like, and I think that was the result of the pressure that Trump gave him. So I wonder what to Putin. I wonder what he would do. But then, just like my friends from Ukraine and other nation states say, it's the propaganda by Russia. I mean, Putin, that Russia is a big country, a big one country. That's a myth. And even their GDP is the 11th in the world, not even close to the US. Like they're missing one digit, right? Even compared to Japan, they're small. But then we have this feeling that they are big and strong, right? And that's a propaganda, just like North Korea. I mean, they become a threat, because they pour all this energy into military instead of the people. But yeah. The problem though is like as a Japanese, what I think often is that when it comes to Russia, we can cut the ties. I think mostly because we are like even right now, like after the war broke out, we are shifting things around. Like who to do business with and so on. Like the past few years, I think it's not even a few years, but I think that we are doing a good job, like shifting and also like cooperating with our allies and so on. You know, and we can do that with Russia. But when it comes to China, China knows how to win, right? So they go into all the countries in the world. They invest and invest and invest. And right now, I hear that their real estate company is now like they're falling, right? So that's good news for us. But then we thought, of course, it's a good news. But at the same time, it can be dangerous for our economy as well because we are all connected, right? So like just like 2008, the economy fall in the US, it influenced the whole country, and just like that, it can be the beginning of the situation similar to that. And so that's my concern right now. Yeah, but did you know that Japanese food is considered more sophisticated than Chinese food? Yes. You can't even compare. It's so different. Like I love Chinese food, by the way. The culture is different from the regime. So I really like after I got married with my husband, like we go to like ethnic restaurants often. Like we try other Asian foods often. My favorite is Indian and Thai and Uyghur and Southern Mongolian. Tibet is good too. Like oh my gosh, it's so good. But it's different. Japanese food is just on the genre is just different because if you look at other countries, Tibet and Southern Mongolia are kind of similar, I guess, because they use, for example, they use mutton or ram, and then they boil the mutton or ram in like um, in hot water with lots of salt. What's the salt name? How do you say that? I forget. Man, I forget easily now. Rock salt? It's not. Just rock salt? That's weird. Um, anyway, like pink salt and that serves up. Yeah, you have that, right? So they use that specific kind of salt and then boil the ram or mutton. And then, so basically, they enjoy what's there, right? Like they don't try to change the original taste, but rather they just get the real taste, right? I think originally bigger as well, but today it's influenced by China, so they use lots of hot peppers. So it's becoming different. But like Tibet and Southern Mongolia, they are very close, I feel. And in Japan too, like we don't try to season everything to change the original taste of our foods, but we try to pull the good taste of what each ingredients have. So the way that we think about foods are different. I guess because especially like our fish, even like we don't have to do much to eat it, because our waters are clean. But in other countries, I bet that you have to season it so much to get rid of the smell and so on. Anyway, I don't think Trump could end the war in 24 hours a week, maybe, but not 20%. Yes, I agree. He's exaggerating, but yeah. But he would. What's great about Trump is that he's very efficient, and he doesn't waste time or energy or cost. He's such a business-minded person when it comes to that, and that's a good thing about him, I think. I elect Trump just to see the 24-hour voting. That's a good way to push him, though. Man, you gotta send that comments to Trump team. Hey, I will elect you if you really, really like. I would vote for Trump if he really, really ends the war in 24 hours. Either way, I hope we cut ties with NATO and stop sending money to them. Our money should be on the border and catching the bad guys like traffickers. And drain the swamp. The US is such a big country that I have no idea what it's like there. Like I love America, but I've never lived there. So like the atmosphere, the feelings, and so on. Like that's something that I have to imagine. So that's the hard part. But yeah, like your national security is of course the most important thing, I think. Like our territorial waters, by the way, are threatened by Russia and China. They tour around. They go on a date together, around our country, and in the ocean and the airspace. They do that, and I feel very threatened. They don't actually come into our land, but they come into our airspace and territorial waters sometimes. And the waters around our territorial waters, they come like on a daily basis, and I feel threatened just like that. And I can't imagine, illegals coming into the borders like nothing. Like they just come in, and it's just so crazy to think about it. Like that's the land power type of thing. Like America is thought to be the sea power, but at the same time, of course, you have the land. like the country next to you. So, um, it's interesting. I was going to say something, but my husband is making a noise and I got distracted and I forgot. I'm trying to think. There was something I wanted to say about that, about this, the border thing. Oh yeah, now I remember. So Ramaswamy, back to Ramaswamy. I think that people should. I bet there's some white people, like extreme right-wing white people, probably are threatened by colored people, right? But at the same time, like Ramaswamy, for example, is a success story of immigrants. You know that his parents came to the U.S. legally, and by that, Ramaswamy became very successful, contributing to the US, and he's very patriotic of his own country, America. And that's a great example for the US. And, and he's on the Republican Party side. And look at Biden administration or the Democratic Party. They are encouraging illegals, just open like sanctuary cities and so on, just opening up the country for illegals, threatening the American people by that. And what does the nation get in return of that action? And so I feel like the comparison is very clear because of Ramaswamy. And I bet that there are other people as well, but Ramaswamy emphasizes his background, oh, my parents came to this country 40 years ago, blah, blah, blah. And then he did succeed. And then now he's a candidate for the US presidential race. That alone tells you a lot, right? If you do things correctly, you can get to that level. Who would be as successful if you go in like illegally? Like they are coming just to survive. They're thinking about their own benefit. Of course, back home they are threatened and so on, but they have to fight back home though, right? Like the mafia and so on. I bet it's like you have to probably die to fight against them. But like I don't know, like our people, like I live in Japan and the people before me fought for my country. Like Japanese people were killing each other, right? In Japan. But they believed in their own stuff, and that's just what happened. And it takes blood because we are all humans and we are not smart enough. And that's the sacrifice, right? And our people have that. So that now, today, like just like me, like I can just freely live like this, not fighting it physically, just on a verbal level. And that's the luxury that we have. And all these illegal people, if you welcome them in, that's like, you think that you're helping them. Maybe the people right now are helped, but not the people in the future. In the long run, like what are you doing by that? Like you have to actually fight. Like even if you welcome these people, then you have to put like a legal label, like refugees or something like that, and then fight for them, instead of them, and then defeat their enemy and then put them back to their country. But the Democratic Party doesn't do that, and it's so weird. It's so weird. But anyway, I'm rambling. I should go, man. Sounds like the microphone is not on. Really? Really? My microphone is not very good, by the way. Hello? Nan, do you hear me? This, like I'm using Apple Cam, Like I'm using my phone as a webcam. Like this is coming from my phone right here, not on my laptop. Thanks for telling me that. And it did keeps like getting cut. Like I see like it blacking out. Oh no, you should you should have told me. Thank you for telling me though. Which region of Japan makes the best food? Is it Fukuoka? Yes. Seriously though, our seasoning is good, and also we have we have fresh fish, and you can't get that in other places. You can get that in Hokkaido, but then their soy sauce is so like salty version. Ours is sweet, and it's much better. That's just a local talk. But and our ramen, noodles are good. Our culture of like the ramen noodles are very very deep, so it's good. Like we have all kinds of foods here, so that's good. But Tokyo though, you can try many different things. Of course Tokyo is good, but it's not as fresh and so on. Like they lack of ingredients. They try, but of course like the foods have to travel for such a long time so that it deteriorates, and but not here. Anyway, I hope you get visit the US, Yoko. Maybe that is something he could stay awake for. Exactly. My friend, who I no longer talk to, used to say that I should have a tour in America and I should do a fundraising for that tour. But part of me, like, as much as I want to do it, I'm scared, to go to the US because of all of the liberal states. Like, I could avoid those states, but I don't know. I lots of BLM people and something similar to that, anti-Trump people. Like they're very very scary, and also like because of COVID-19, I think that Asians are discriminated too. So my husband is yawning. I should take care of it.
ニュースの番組をす
うん
るとか言ってたのを言ってみたら、それって見るのかな。
ニュース番組あなたと
二人でするとか
うん
言ってたじゃん、英語で
だから前するって言ったらみんないいねって見るって言ったやん。
言ってたの。
言ってたよ。My husband is like, you should ask your audience about having a live stream together, like my husband and I together. I talked about it before, right? Like my husband, like I call my husband on my stream and talk to you together. Like I can be your translator for him or for you and him. He does understand English, but not very good at speaking it, so I can be his mouth. So I should do that, right? Like I thought that we were gonna do that, but yeah. And suddenly you guys out of the aquarium. I was in the water. Oh no. Thanks to whoever mentioned the location. 古い言語と新しい言語の違いは何ですか? The difference between the old language and the new language of Japanese, you mean? Everything is different, but things, I don't know, like the wording are different. It's just like English. Nobody say though anymore. Just like that, we have our version. Isn't the humidity worse in Fukuoka? It's the same. It's the same throughout Japan. And often because our prefecture is like, there are 4 main islands in Japan, right? We are in the south, and people assume that because we are in the south, people say that, oh, it must be hot or warmer there. But in reality, we are facing
the Sea of Japan, and that's the cold sea, not the Pacific Sea. Pacific Ocean. Pacific Ocean, it's the warm breeze and everything, right? It's warm, but our prefecture is facing like China and South Korea, and the ocean there is, it's the sea there is cold, so it's kind of cold here. Okay, I'm getting sleepy. Yes, bring Hide on stream. Yes. Oh, super chat. Thank you. Wait, this one. Super chats heavily censor my messages. Really? Huh. YouTube does. I think, yeah, not the super chats. Thank you so much, though. I really appreciate it. Yeah, YouTube doesn't like me, so. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yoko, isn't Fukuoka considered a ghetto for Japanese standards? No. I don't know what you mean. What are your opinions on Trump charges? My opinion is that the left is using the judicial system to attack Trump, and it's about the election, not about the case or cases. So it's ridiculous. Like, it's a waste of time and energy, and they should be talking about the policies instead of like personally attacking him, Like, we knew of all the accusations from a long time ago, and they now bring that up and attack him. And that shows that they don't have anything else to attack him with. They're holding on to the past because that's the only way that they can think of. And by that, I think that they are losing. The more that they do it, it's going to look bad. Like, they're going to look ugly themselves, not Trump. But at the same time, Republican Party people might not like the idea of the candidate, like presidential candidate, getting charged like that. So YouTube has its own idea of truth. Ghetto as in dangerous or unsafe. It's the Kitakyushu city. That's the only city. Kitakyushu is said to be like a mafia type of city. Not the rest of the Fukuoka. Like, we don't even some of us even, like, we don't regard that city as Fukuoka because it's like old fashioned kind of countryside-ish. It's not countryside, but like a rural, like, I don't know, not very city type. So, like, not sophisticated, like, we have all this like proud of our hometowns, so like we're gonna be very hostile against other cities. I wasn't even saying anything controversial, even just common sense. Okay, I wonder why. I don't know what to do about it. Do you think that the war in Ukraine would have been avoided if Trump was in power? 80%, I think so. Because Trump would pull Putin close to him and also pressure him at the same time. And they took Crimea though, so maybe the reaction was bad at the time by the US. But that's 2014 or something, right? Before Trump. Yeah, I do think that Trump would at least, like, it wouldn't be this bad, I think, if he was the president. I think that the leftists really made a mistake, pushing him out of the office. The US economy is really bad now. It was not as bad when Trump was in office, and he was unafraid of pointing finger at China when the virus came from China. Like, I don't know what his reaction was. Like, I don't remember, but I know that as the time goes on and the research is done, like we can tell that it came from Wuhan, China. And then Trump, as he has a strong stance against China, I know that he could use the opportunity rather to bash China and, you know, degrade China from the international society and put everything in order. And along the way, Putin would be harnessed. I think would have been harnessed. Why is Kyoto just an anagram of Tokyo? Anagram? Anagram? Anagram. Oh, I see. I have no idea. But maybe the word kyo has the meaning of kyo. Kyo has the meaning of city, like the capital, I think. In Kyoto, there was our emperor was there back in the day, so stuff like that, I think. It's easier to get to Korea from Fukuoka. Yes, it's I think it's closer to go to Korea than Tokyo from here. Japan needs to ban North Korean schools. Yes, we do. Yeah, we are doing so many things wrong in Japan. Like, and also, like, we have so many problems to solve, but even conservative or right-wing people are caught up with the problems that don't matter, or like no help. Like, they focus on the problems that, like, there's no help, right? Like, you can't do anything about it, but then they keep talking about it, you know, like trying to change other people's opinions and so on. Like, that's a waste of time and energy, and they should be rather talking about the policies, but they don't do that. So in regards to that, I think that we need like Ramaswamy type of people here, because realism is the word or concept that we need here. Trump is good, you know, like powerful just by his presence, like he can change things. But in Japan, it's harder to. Our culture is different, and we don't have people like a charismatic, amazing celebrity like that. Like, we don't even have celebrities, you know. There are famous people and there are people that go on TV, but it's not on the level as celebrities in America. So, man, we gotta work hard. Yeah, one thing that's good about Ramaswamy, by the way, I keep pushing him, but just giving you the perspective, you know, he's Indian bloody, right? He's Asian bloody. Asian people work so hard. We don't. I mean, I don't know about Chinese people, but in like studying though, even Chinese people, they work so hard, right? It's just the Eastern culture. We work really, really hard, and I bet that Ramaswamy can work his way up, you know, if he is allotted some kind of role. So, Trump's study at Wharton Business School was economics. Any real surprise? Huh. Interesting. Oppenheimer is out now. Are you planning to see it? No. I mean, I will have to, but I don't want to. Marty Friedman is here. Yeah. I don't think people know him anymore. Local elections are super important as well. I hear that Japanese conservatives, like American conservatives, ignore city council elections, which helps leftists win those seats. No, as long as it's not a big city, usually it's the conservatives that win. There are not many leftists in rural area or countryside, so I'm not worried about that. But anyway, I gotta go. I'm getting sleepy because my husband is sleepy. You know, it's interesting that like couples when they're like, if you are sitting on a couch with somebody that is close and one yawns, then you yawn. So you can check your partner that way. If your partner is close to you, if you yawn, your partner will yawn. And my husband, when he's sleepy, I'm sleepy. Anyway, stay forever. Thank you so much. Uh, let me know what I should talk about next week. Like, you can send me tweets, not tweets, but posts on X. Let me know what I should be talking about. I can introduce like newspapers and so on. I should bring my husband. Maybe I should do that next week. I was gonna add one extra day of the week to go on live stream to talk about stuff with my husband, but maybe I should just mix everything up and he can come on to this stream. I don't know. Anyway, yes, contagious. Thanks, Yoko and sleeping, missing it. Yes, he went to wash his hands or something. Thanks, Jack. What's your opinion of Abe's assassination? I think I talked about it a lot in the past, so you can watch my old streams. It's a great loss. Okay, I'm gonna go. Yeah, you gotta cry, man. You gotta go. Yeah, my husband needs to be taken care of now. He misses me. So I gotta give attention to my husband 24/7. So thank you guys for coming, even though this stream is just random. Yeah, thank you so much. He is sleepy too. Yes, he's yawning. Well, it looks like we have no choice. Yes. Thank you guys. Have a great day or great night. Okay. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end. I know it's late on the other side of the world. He needs to come on. Yes, I will force him to come on next week. Okay. Thank you. And make sure you subscribe to this channel. Okay. And please let people around you know about this channel. And also next week, let's catch up. Okay. And if there's anything that you want me to talk about, you can write to me on Twitter. I mean X. Sorry, I'm gonna go. Thank you. Okay, see you in a week. Bye.